So I woke up this morning with an urgency to release this message, and we've already delivered this in extracted version that can sometimes become a little um, it can become a distraction when we start extracting for other people to see us go sideways. And I want to try to keep this a little bit more fluid because of the importance of what happened in the garden, so people can see. I'm feeling there's something going on right now with the Constitution, and I can hear the language of how do we separate from this. And it's very important that we comprehend that there's a lesser and a greater narrative of a greater Constitution and a lesser Constitution. And it's exactly what's going on right now, that the Spirit is sharing that. We talk about bringing down the system, and we don't do it with the weapons of warfare of the world. We do it through the Spirit. And this is what's happening right now, is there's a separation. And there's a lot of people that be caught in the uncomfortable of this, if they haven't done the proper work to build love and shalom, um, and the full measure of what we are to become. But there's no fear in this. It's just this has to happen, and it's going to be interesting to watch it from the fringes and for the peripherals of where we are. But I want to break this down about what happened in the garden so we can move through an expression to see why and what's going on, to give hope to people right now. I'm just feeling this urgency. So let's first go to see what we know, that there's a bitter bite. So let's start with this first word right here. Please go to um, 1588, please, at the garden. And we see that this is an enclosure. We can see the spelling. It's the Gimel and the Nun. And something happened in the garden, and we know that it's been defined as a serpent and a bite, and we've already shared with it about the seraphim. And I want to bring some clarity to this right now, but I want to just break this down to comprehend what this bite is. So now that people can see that word, we're going to break this down a little bit. But I want you to go, please, to the 7219 carry, the Rosh. And I want people to see that this is the head wound that we've been talking about. And again, we did another version of this that's a little lengthy. And this is going to be lengthy too, but I want to compress this a little bit and point in a different direction, because there's so much information here. It's very difficult to extract it all out. So you're at the head wound, so people can see that we have the Resh, olive sheen. And if we read that, we can see the first word is venom. And then we have 12 occurrences of this. And the first occurrence is in Deuteronomy 29:18. And it's bearing poisonous fruit. And we've all drank from something. Now, whether it was a cup, whether it was a fruit, doesn't really matter to me. Oh, I can see it as a language and a frequency, because that's how the Spirit has taught me to see frequency. So we've partnered with a frequency for a theft in the garden. This is what happened. And there was a removal. So this was the theft. It was just a taking away. And they call it theft or a beguiling, but that's not really what I'm seeing. So can you now, with that Rosh, can now we see a head that is attached to this, and even of serpents, we see poison, gall, all these words, apparently from a poppy, from its conspicuous head. But now go to, please, to 4846. I don't know if you can share them both. I don't think you can, but I want to show another bitter, saying pretty much the same thing. We have a bitter thing, gal, poison. We have bitterness, and now we have also venom of a serpent, and it's the same. So we're seeing some very similar things going on right now. And this is from 4843. Just quickly go to there,
Okay.
and then come back, and what does it say?
Menorah, to be bitter.
To be bitter, and we've shared about the bitterness of mother.
Yep,
And,
we've definitely
okay.
talked about that.
Okay, so go back, please. So now we have this bitter, and it's Mara. Now I want you to go and see something. Well, first of all, let's see the spelling. So we see Mem, Resh, Resh, Hey.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'd like you to go to this word for me, please. Oh, darn it. I didn't write it down, but can you go to Menorah? I know what the root of it is. We can back it up, but
4501.
there you go.
A lampstand.
And in this, we can see similarities to what we just saw, Memran, but we see now Memnun, Vav Resh He. And the bitterness was the Memresh Resh He. So what we see is a Nun and a Vav
That have been placed within.
that have been placed within.
Yeah.
A risen nature
Yeah.
to be spiritually filled and connecting this. And
Yeah.
now this is connect. Now can you take this to 5216? That's the nerve.
Mm-hmm.
And then can you take it to the 5135? It'll be a breakdown from that, the newer, and it should be a fire, a shine. And we can see that this is all got a noon attached to it, the noon, Yod Resh. And we're seeing that this noon is risen. And so, what the Spirit is showing me, that there was a lampstand in the garden, already risen. And it's directly connected to the fire. And if we break this down, we've already connected with the seraphim, and what it means is fire. And this was the fire in the garden. So we have a lampstand in the garden. And it's giving us a bitter bite. But this is the completed Yeshua in the garden. And we're going through the experience. And I know this is going to rock some people. I apologize. I'm not here to confuse. I'm only sharing with the frequency. And really, I'm releasing the frequency into really the web or the internet to release the frequency for, it just needs to be released. So I'm seeing a dynamic here of a risen noon. Now let's define this. So we have this bitter thing. There's no noon at all in it. It's just a bitter thing.
So you're taking me back to
4846, just so we can see the difference between Menorah, the double reshes, and but it's very similar to Menorah. It's just the noon and the Vav. And we know that we have meekness is attached to the Vav to be filled up, connecting, expansion is the Vav, and then we also have the noon, which is perpetuity. I got animals all over me here.
dog and cat are trying to come and help us.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's go. We know that there's a deception that happened, and we call it deceiving. So go to, again, we've already run through this again, but I just need to bring the bitter together again. And so let's just run this really quick. Please go to 4519, and then we're going to go back to the garden. I don't need to jump around. But let's go to 4519, and it's Manasseh, causing to forget. Because I need to tie you in the head wound. And then we can see that.
4-5. The numbers, please.
4519.
Okay.
And everything we're doing is the remembering. Everything is about the head wound, the forgetting, and the remembering. So we've already shared with this. I'm just going to render it down. So then go to 5382. I'm just refreshing here. That's all I'm doing, so people can see. And then we see to forget. 5382. It's the root of Manasseh.
Okay.
And then please go to 5378. And we see that word means to forget. It's a primitive root. Go to 5378.
Okay.
Now we have beguile and deceive.
Yep.
But so we can tell that it's tied to connect. And the first occurrence of this is in 1 Samuel 22:2.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that is in debt. And then please go to 5377. Exact same spelling, exact same vowel points. We've already brought this forward.
Right.
Now we have to lend interest, but this is the occurrence of mentally to delude, right? Morally seduce, and now the serpent beguiled me. And so really I'm just connecting to forgetting to the lampstand in the garden. We've already shared with everyone about mnemonic and demonic. Mnemonic, a device such as a pattern of letters, ideas, or associations that assists in the remembering.
Right.
Okay, and then we have demonic, that is be a D in remembering.
So without a mnemonic device.
Without, right. So without this, then you're going to be in a place, and what we've seen is that everything is about ingathering the pieces of love, and if you don't, then you're going to be in a void, and this is where we have demonic that has the ability to come into our void and then fill what we haven't filled. And so it gives opportunity for a presence to come in that is not love to then saturate us in that frequency.
Which would make sense because the language is the letters of light and love.
Right.
So the more you fill yourself with the letters of light and love, the less likely chance that you'll be bothered by demonic oppression or attacks or anything.
Right.
Because it can't touch the sacred language.
Right. And I'm not trying to move quickly in this, but that's all we've already shared that. So yeah, so now we could potentially could have a void in us that would allow for an access of something other than the intention to come in, because
So a loveless inversion.
a loveless inversion, whether
Of
you want
self.
to, right,
Yeah.
vanity has a spirit attached, because vanity is a frequency and it has a
Right.
spirit that would then morph in agreement to continuing into vanity, and now we have an egoic nature, right?
Right.
And so that's what's filling the void if we don't fill it with love.
Right.
And that's why love is the most powerful frequency we can have, because nothing can touch us when we're in the frequency of love. We're becoming one again with Father. And this is all the process of the 222 rendering down the 1 to the 44. And I'm going to bring some clarity to that, I hope. So let's go back to the 1588, the GAN, the first garden. And now with this, we're going to have to break down the GAN, because what is the garden? Because I've already, in the other teachings, I think that this one's going to be inserted before the other teachings. It's more of a dense version. But I can see in this that we are the garden, because it's an accumulation of a frequency that's establishing the Gimel and the Nun, because this is who we are. So it's a yes and an and. It's an outside and an inside. When we gather together, we form a landmass, and we can call it Gan Eden or Gan. But inside, we are Gimel Nun. So let's break this down a little bit so we can find out what this GAN is. And there's just 2 letters here. So let's go to 1580 and let's break down the GAN. And so this is Gimel. So the first letter is Gimel. So go to 1580, please.
Okay.
And we can see that it's Gimel, Mem, Lamed. And so now we have Mal, which is to be filled up. We're not going to go into the sideways extraction. We've already done this, but now we have Gimel, which to deal fully or adequately with, to deal out, to wean, to ripen. Now this is all about first fruits. This is all about fruits ripening, because this is the whole language of Scripture.
So we can say it's the gathering of the honey.
Gathering of the honey.
That will fill you up.
The top of the tree, because that's where the bees would make honey, in the top of the tree. So this is an elevation. And so yes, Mel is a lofty, it's lofty. Mel is ascension. So the Gimel that's what the Gimel is. You're looking at the letter. This is the definition of it, to be fully ripened.
And it also is the word for camel.
Right.
And a camel is famous for storing water within its humps, so it can go long distances in the desert.
Right. So the Gimel is a mother, a teacher, because this is what it is to be one that is of a measure, because the M is also a measure. So it's one that has weaned and ripened to become the measure of the teacher. Gamel is a big word. This is why Gamaliel was Paul's teacher.
Yeah.
And his name is actually this, with an L added to it, and vision, a yod. So this is a pretty strong word. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show, is that's the first letter in the word for Gan. Now let's go to Nun, 5125. That's the second letter in Gan, because this is a frequency and a resonance of who we are.
So just for people so they know this, every single Hebrew symbol is spelled by Hebrew symbols. So if you've never heard a teaching before, that's what we're showing. Unlike, in English, an A is an A and a B is a B, Hebrew and Aramaic, every symbol is made up in a spelling of the actual symbol itself, if that made sense.
So now we have in this a Nun, Vav Nun, and this is the spelling of Nun. And we can see that in its own definition, to propagate, to resprout, by shoots, to be perpetual. Perpetuity. And there's only one occurrence of this, and we're going to go into this. But first of all, I want to break down propagate. In the word, if you break it down by its definition, it means breed specimens of a plant or animals by natural processes from the parent stock. Now that's us, so we're from the parent stock. Perpetual definition, ever-ending or changing, deep caves. It also means darkness, actually. I guess it's it's the deep. It's forever. So it says endless, unending, eternal. Um, so just breaking down, these are the English definitions so we can see, but there's a lot in these that I need to extract out just to show that there's a lot more going on than just the noon here.
And it also just is the word fish.
Yeah.
Hence why the early church used the fish symbol
Mm-hmm.
to propagate and increase the teachings. Because it also in the paleo means an heir.
Yeah, and the paleo means an heir, a seed, and the sun. And so, and that's what we're going to target on here. So that's the paleo of original. So that's what
Yeah.
this was sourced on. So we can go right to
So
that.
this is increasing the sonship or heirship to the throne.
Right.
Hence why they use the symbol
Right.
to propagate the teachings of the way.
Right. So in the one now we're going to extract this out a little bit because I need to see what this is. What is this? What is this air? What is this sun that's directly connected to the garden? And that we know that there was a bite in the garden, and it's to forgetting, and so we're going to remember. So let's go to the one occurrence in Psalm 72:17 in for the noon.
Yeah.
And I want you to bring it up on the screen, please.
It is already here.
And I'm going to read this. Can you please read it through just in English, just in the definition of itself?
Okay, or you want so through the
Just the English through the shall endure his name.
okay, shall endure his name forever, as long as the sun shall continue his name, and shall be blessed in him all the nations shall call him blessed.
Right. So now, just by we can just look at this. We can see a lot going on here. So let's just go through this, not quick, but let's just be efficient. Okay. So shall endure, and we know that. And please share. So we know that we have yod hey yod. So now shall endure. Now we have revelation with vision of mother and father on the prefix and the suffix.
Right, so actually this root word is hayah, which is hey yod hey. Now this is yod hey yod.
Right.
So there's the two revelations that are going to present a vision to you, but now in this written form it's flipped.
Right.
So both of these letters mean the yod is the power. Power means in direction that will be given to you if you hold out your hand to receive it.
And everything.
And give generously this revelation. So that within you, this revelation can come on the inside. That's what's so profound.
Yeah.
The hay is on the inside, which has to do with your heart, the center of the being.
And this is based on, now think of, because everything about the revealing of the book of Revelation is the reveal of Revelation. These are those, right? This is the hay. That's what it really means, because that's the definition of the hay, is
to be
revelation.
revealed.
So this
Revelation.
is one that is standing between the vision of mother and between the power, vision and power of mother, the vision and power of father. They are standing as one in the full revelation as revealed, shall endure. So these are ones that shall endure.
Right.
Okay.
And it also means to come to pass, to be, to become.
So, right.
And we use that word to become or becoming all the time.
And so now, but this is written as a past tense script that is directing for a now and a future, or for, right? So we're directing, so that's why it's written that way, but that's why it's coded, the whole book is coded to say because you can see when it's talking about, I'm talking about past events, and then they're talking about future events, and then they're talking about the now.
Well, because the now is those who would have the eyes to see this.
Right. And
that's where we're at right now.
And we're in the now right now.
We're in the now.
We're in the now. And that's why I'm releasing this. And the Spirit had me up
Got it.
at 1 o'clock this morning and said, you need to break this down and get this out. Regardless of one person sees it, I really don't care. It's the frequency released onto the internet because we're uploading it into a system. And may this be the cure to the virus.
Stop it.
So let's go to the next word. Shall endure his name.
Yeah.
And now we have a vav on the suffix of that. And so we have filled up, we have in meekness. Now, so shall endure the name of meekness. Spiritual meekness should be lifted up and elevated and filled up.
And it's connected to Father.
Yes.
Which is important because, when I was in the Christian church, Father was ambiguous to me.
Well, we're going to define it right here.
It's just like it was always about Jesus.
Yeah.
And Father was this entity way out there in the distance that I didn't even know what to do with.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is this name forever?
Right. And so this is of the fire and the living water.
Right.
That have honor, authority, and integrity and will be conspicuous.
Right. This is Le'olam, and this is now a teacher, a light, has the all-knowing of intimacy, The fountain. This would be, again, this would say that you've already reached just by the spelling of this word, even the ayin, it means completion. The fountain, the deep, it's the springs, it would be the pineal, it would be the all-seeing eye on top of the pyramid.
The fountains of living waters within.
Right. And so, and then you're filled up spiritually in meekness. You are connecting heaven and earth because the two lameds are there, and this ayin vav is in between the two light bearers, and this is a quadrated light bearer of the sealed. So this would be a father and a mother, an open and a close, a beginning and an end. However, a mother and a father completely knowing, because you've journeyed from beginning to end, and so now we're in a cycle of completion here.
And that's an added lamed to the front of that word.
Right.
So olam is the root. So we've got added lamed.
Right.
That endures forever.
Right.
A teaching shepherd of light, a bearer of light is forever. And the diamond on top, it lets them know that it's a gem, it's a quadrated one, it's a gift from God.
Yeah. And I wanted to share this, that what I'm seeing the Spirit showing me is that in the beginning, we were mother and father. And then that's why Father left the garden. He wasn't cast out. He purposely left. He can't be cast out. He left for the purpose of experience. Mother was
Exactly.
left in the beginning. And Father is waiting. If we look at a journey, if we want to just put a straight road and say Mother's at the start line and Father's at the finish. But yet our journey in between is where the Spirit leads us. And Mother and Father are one, so how could they be cast out? But Father is waiting us because He is established. Mother is allowing us to express ourselves through the journey, and so they've separated. And so Father is waiting for us to finish, so Mother and Father can be knit together as one, compressing the Spirit within.
Right.
And that's where we become completed. Center Spirit, Mother and Father on the peripherals, as one. I'm just drawing a picture.
Well,
But
that's the esoteric side of the ancient Hebrew wedding.
right, and so that's what's happening. So he wasn't cast out of the garden. He left on purpose because he's going, if I'm there, you're going to have the knowing of establishment, and it negates the purpose of experience.
Right. Exactly.
So
Experience through time.
so no one was cast out. He left because he said, I love you this much, you're going to go experience love so you can be as I am.
Right.
So now we have as long as, so forever as long as, and now we have lipane. So connected to the sun, the face of the sun.
Right. Because they put as long as, but I'm pulling it up right here.
good.
And it's face and presence.
Right.
And it says the face of the seraphim or the cherubim.
Right.
This,
So
yeah.
so these ones that are going to
in front
endure,
of, in the presence of.
so these ones that will endure will be the name forever. They will be the mother and the father of light. That they will be the face of the sun. Taking away the English, because I don't need to be confused by that, because this is speaking of frequency on the higher definitions or the higher planes of what's really coded in this.
And because it means appear, it also means to appear. So these teachers of light, these bearers of light, are going to appear having the right hand of power as they give the power of love.
And
they will appear as the sun.
They're going to appear as the sun.
Yeah.
And so they're going to appear as the sun. And then we have the next word for the first occurrence of noon.
But I do want to say Shamash, sun, is also means the servant.
Yes, that's why I brought up the
serves.
menorah, because that's the servant candle.
Yeah.
So the gan in the beginning, this is why we're connecting, because we already were a servant candle. We already now, and mastery is only the mastery of servanthood. So that's why I started up, because we started out with the menorah, and then you can tell that there was a noon vav that was inserted in menorah, and now we're going to the noon vav. So we're filling up what we just started.
The noon yod?
The noon vav
Okay.
in the noon. That was what was missing from the menorah, from the bitter bite. So you have to find the noon to raise your nature. You follow me there? In this 5125.
Oh, I see it. I just see that it was written with the yod and the yod, the two yods with the noon in the middle.
Right.
And they called it out. So if they were reading this in the synagogue, they would call this out, but they would not read how it was originally written.
You would never see this, but the frequency is saying yod noon vav noon. So you need to find the power of the noon vav while in the earth.
And so how does that happen? The twin visions that are given to you.
Back at the top.
Right, but even in how it was written, it's saying that the only way that you can connect to this vav is that you have to have both visions. So they didn't tell you how to do it.
No.
They left the twin visions out, and the second vision is from the Father.
Yes.
They're saying that if you have mother's connection, you've already connected at your heart level to the fullness of it. And in reality, if you don't have the Father's vision, you can't make that manifest.
No.
So the twin visions have to be acquired
Yeah, and that's what we're doing.
in order for you to continue.
We're giving the twin visions right here. And so I'm trying to connect with this so people can see that there's a lot going on. This shall endure his name forever. Is that these with double vision of revelation that are standing between mother and father are the revealed of the revelation. They are the name. They are the fire of mother and father as one, standing in the complete spirit form, filled up. They are forever. They are Leolam. They are the light bearer on both sides. They are the all-knowing, completely spiritually filled up. From the open, they find the sealed. They are the face of the sun, and they are noon. So now
the activity of life, and they shall propagate.
Right. So now they become perpetuity. They are this. They are the noon means of, and we're going to break this down a little further. So what is this name of perpetuity? It's his name. This is his name, noon. His name, perpetuity.
So anybody that is of the name is automatically connected to the perpetuity, Leolam.
Right.
Shemo Leolam, the name that is forever.
When we say that,
those who are of the named.
Right. Again, we're only temporal here, but we have to comprehend what we're becoming, because how can you become the greater reality again if you don't even comprehend the lesser reality, and you're caught in something, and therefore how can you come out of it if you don't even realize there's something? And we see something going on right now that's asking us to separate from contract of constitution. Am I for the Constitution? I'm for the higher constitution of my Heavenly Father. And I want to be careful with that. I'm not an anarchist. I'm simply seeing a frequency, and we're going to go to that. You don't need to go dig it up, but we're going to go to Buddy. But so this is the name, and men shall be blessed in him, Bo. So now we have a name. Noon is his name. Perpetuity is his name, and blessed. Now we have the word Barak.
All right, so endure and perpetuity, and now blessed.
Now we have blessed. Yeah. We have Vav, Yod, Tav, Bet, Resh, Kaf, Vav.
And the root would be the Bet, Resh, Kaf.
The Bet, Resh, Kaf. So now we have humility is the power of love. This is to be blessed.
Well, that is, if you're operating in the golden rule, you shall be blessed. And that makes sense, because the golden rule, people would trust you, and you would have blessings come because you're treating people in kindness.
So we also have bar in here.
Yeah, we do.
So now being blessed is rendering clear. In humility, you have the power of love, which was rendering clear. So you
innocence.
So you may grasp. You've tamed the unruly, and you are able to grasp this. What are you grasping? Meekness is power of Father.
And how do we do this? Kaf pei.
Right.
The words that bring revelation through the sacred languages. And this is, you've made your cup able to be filled, because this isn't an empty cup. This is one that's ready to be filled with that.
And speaking of that, that's exactly what the bitter cup was. We partook of a cup, and we emptied the cup. And now we're gathering the cup again to fill the cup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we've emptied the bitter, and now we're going to come with the full cup of sweet.
So in other words, the stripping of mother strips you bare, makes you have to empty out your cup of everything that you've put into it so that you can be filled.
Right. So now...
So get rid of what you've put in that is of the fallen nature, fallen world, and trade it for something that will allow you to be filled and connected to Father in the power of meekness.
So now we have the name, shall be blessed in him, Bo. And then we have Kal. In him, the coming and the going of the completed.
That have built through the Bet Tav, the 222.
That have built through the Bet Tav of love, the 222. Again, there's a lot of redundancies in this, but this is a very important...
But this is how we teach through inculcation.
Right. And so now we have, they built through to become completed, right? The comings and the goings. They bet through the Bet Tav and the Vav, the Bo, coming and going through love. This is how we do it. Completely filled up spiritually.
Yeah.
They become now all the goyim, and this is...
Well, and they become whole.
Right. They become whole, and then we're asking for. Look what's going on right now as far as the nations being separated. We want to become a whole nation. Well, we are the nation. We are Israel. We are the Shemayim. We are above. We ourselves are Goyim in its frequency. We are, because there's the Gimel again. We are gathered and ripened spiritually. We are humbly knit in the power of Father. That is a nation.
Right, and this word in its root means a sojourner,
Right.
right? So the sojourners that are here, that's what this is talking to. That will be whole. And the cough, and just, I don't want to pass this. This one, this cough above and blessed was meant to be filled.
Mm-hmm.
Now this one, where the word meaning whole and all, the cup is filled. The dagesh is in it.
This is now a sovereign nation. That we can take nation to the definition of what nation means. And this is a filled up one that you've taken. That's why we've emptied the bitter cup. We went through the sojourn and the journey of life, through the experience of finding love. And now you're coming home with the cup filled, and you would be called nation. So, because it's a frequency. This is why we have problems in the world. And then they should be called Yasharua. And that is from Asher. This is the name of the Asherim.
Wow.
So now
How
we have...
amazing is, so you would think, is if you're reading in this English, you would think that the word above and shall be blessed, shall call him blessed, would be the same word, right?
Right.
Because of the way they translated it. So in other words, they're trying to hide Asherah.
There's more
again.
going... Yeah, and we're going to...
They're hiding Asherah.
They're hiding Asherah. So I wanted to bring this forward to show, because we've already shown you...
Because that's right there, Asherah.
I know. We've already shown in some other teachings what Asherah was, that it's the strong love, and it's the God of love, and this is what we're building. And so now these are those that are called nation. They are the Goyim. They are the ones that are fully gathered and are ripened and weaned themselves off of the lesser, and they move to the greater, and now they are called blessed. And they are Ya Asherua. They are now complete power as one, consumed in the fire,
the twin fires,
as the top, as the first fruit, as the headstone, 7222,
right?
Infilled in the Spirit, through the revelation of Mother and Father,
right?
So you are the revelation of humility and meekness, standing between Mother and Father as the completed revelation.